Hey guys, this is Turk, and this video is going to be a tricky one for me. I'm going to try and do this. This is going to be a video talking about the movie Deadpool and Wolverine. I just came back from watching it just over an hour ago, and I have it fresh in my head, so I wanted to talk about it a bit. I'm going to try to do a spoiler-free section now, and then I'm going to do spoilers afterward, and I will timestamp it in the video, and I'll put in the little text in the video. The spoiler-free part is, I'll keep it brief. This is a really good movie, like a summer movie to see. This is also a movie to keep in mind, as anyone else who's seen Deadpool movies, that it's not really for kids. I think that was when the first one came out. That would be 8 years ago. Was that really 9? Whatever. The first, a lot of people were like shocked. I remember some report people saying, "Oh my God, I wanted to go to take him to a superhero movie, and this thing's so vulgar." Oh, we're bringing this up a little. Yes, this movie is that, and it takes a lot of that, some of that to the next level in some cases, especially with the language and context of certain parts. Do not take your child to see this movie if they're like. In my experience, when I was young, I knew I interacted with a lot of kids that were very vulgar at a young age. So you have to be careful with that and as a parent, take that point with a grain of salt. When I was in high school, actually, and one thing I noticed is like kids that were a few years young, the 10, 11 to 12 to 13-year-olds, man, they had potty mouths. So take it with a grain of salt that you can't take your kid to see this movie who's like under 13, 14 as like a bar area. It's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to have to explain if you go to that movie. And just like people learned the hard way with the first one, this is not the typical Disney MCU movie that is very limited. Even, that brings up a good point. The first Iron Man movie, which is relatively tame, has one scene, one area, a small, thing where Iron Man is sleeping with this reporter somewhere in the beginning. I forget where he meets her at, and everything else after that, they are really that was pre-Disney thing. All the movies, the Avengers is like the gray area there. All those movies beforehand was before Disney purchased the Marvel stuff, and then all the Marvel movies also came under their umbrella. Not all the Marvel, the MCU ones, because Deadpool and Fantastic Four and X-Men was part of Fox. I think Fantastic Four was also Fox, right? I'm pretty sure. I don't remember all those specifics like that. So I'm sorry I went along with this, but yeah, keep that in mind that this movie is not for kids. On the other hand, though, once you get that out of the way, this movie is really good, but it's also a movie that's like a one-off. I think other people have already seen this accurately and said it better than me. This is not really going to probably save the Marvel Universe and yada yada. I'm not going to go into that. I'm frustrated with Disney's approach since the end game, but I am not in a position where I can really articulate well why, other than to say one thing to say, you made too many TV shows. It's just too much. I was saying with my video about Penguin yesterday, the Penguin show seems like it could be too long also. I don't think you need maybe more than 6 episodes. And if those episodes are shorter, you should just make those things like a slightly longer movie. By doing it in a TV show thing, maybe try that way can fix pacing a little bit. Because I was talking about how the Batman movie that this Penguin is a sequel of also itself had some pacing problems, even though it was long, and long movies like that I generally enjoy. Anyways, with this thing, it's a good movie that has the pacing in this one feels a little off. It's 2 hours, but there's some point in the middle where it felt like it was dragging just a little bit, but it's not the worst I've seen with that. So Deadpool, let's see, I'm trying to think of some non-spoiler stuff. Deadpool is just Deadpool. It's Ryan Reynolds, and he gets it basically. Him and the other people that are working on this seem to have had a very near perfect amount of freedom that they needed to make this movie work. This movie works. If anyone has any worries about Disney being in charge of this, don't. Uh, like they're not gonna get what happened in the first one where you saw those scenes of him and his girlfriend doing some more kinky stuff in the bedroom. They mention stuff like that, but they absolutely are not gonna show any of that. So the language in here, as far as that stuff goes, oh yeah, I have to use my right hand. The language, as far as that goes, is going to be the main thing you're going to have to be concerned with. Because as far as anything else goes, the violence is there, but it's not weird. It's just like if you've watched the movie like Blade, the first Blade, that this is similar levels of that. There's a lot of blood, there's a lot of people stabbing and stuff like that, and some other things. So keep that in mind again. And that's what you're going to get here. So it's like, and what I'm getting back to is that you're going to get what you want out of a Deadpool movie overall. It's not going to be maybe if you liked more of the stuff they showed in I remember especially the first one. I haven't watched the second one more than once. I watched the first one a few times because that's my favorite one. If you like what you saw with those, you're going to get more or less the same thing. So yeah, go for it for that. As far as like it being what it's going to do with the rest of the Marvel Universe, probably nothing. All I can think out of this is that there's plenty of room here if they have other good stories they can base off that you can have another sequel. I don't know if they want to throw in how much more they want to throw in Wolverine because semi-spoilers, there's room here for Wolverine to show up again. I'm going to leave it at that right here until I get into the spoiler stuff. So there's plenty, I think there's room here for another sequel. Just also in that vein, they should keep it as like a self-contained story as much as this one does. Okay, now I think I'm going to enter spoiler territory because that will help me like think of other things to say. So this movie, spoilers ahead. Where are we at? Yeah, spoilers ahead. I'll make. Sorry. This movie takes place a few years after. I think it's supposed to be a few years. See, I just watched it, so this is gonna be a little rough. I may want to talk about this one in later detail when I can download and watch it. Some years there's a beginning scene where I missed this until I watched. I had to watch a few reviews to help clear things up with this too. So Deadpool apparently took the machine that Cable used, and he went to the Earth where the MCU universe exists, and wanted to join the Avengers. And he was refused. And this also has the first of, there's many cameos in this. So in the cameo, this first cameo is that Kevin, what's his name? What's that director's name? He's the one that did the Iron Man movies. He's in there as Happy Hogan, and he is doing an interview with Deadpool. And I didn't know there was like an interview process. Actually, it's funny because one sec. Direct that again. One. Son of a bitch. Yeah, that's right. John Favreau is in here, and he's doing this interview, and he turns down Deadpool, and Deadpool's just like, and he just kind of ruins it for himself. It's one of those self-destructing type interviews. I've had one or two of those myself. This is a funny one with that. And anyways, this I didn't catch it in this viewing, but the reviews are pointing out like this later on. It kind of points out that after his loss of this position, I didn't understand how this was supposed to work because now I'm saying it's supposed to be that he was in another world or Earth. This hurts him so much that his relationship with his girlfriend, I don't know her name, it strains his relationship where they end up have been broken up for probably. I think this is supposed to be set in 2024. So at some point from 2018 to now, they have broken up, and he's now working as a car salesman. He has tried to get a regular job. And I think this is supposed to be an attempt to like get her back. I think he's worried that his mercenary work was part of the reason, and he's doing this as a way to repair it. but it's not working for him. He can't successfully. He's not a good salesman because, like, there's a scene where he's with parents and children, and he's too much himself. He's just his. It's you know what it is. Deadpool. This Deadpool, maybe all versions of Deadpool. If he was looking for an alternative job, he should be like a comedian. He could be like what's that British guy's name? The one who always, when people try to in the crowd try to make jokes at his expense, he always has a good retort. Can't think of his name right now. Jimmy Carr, I think his name is. This character could be like the better Jimmy Carr, where he's very quick witted. So, anyways, that stuff doesn't work out for him. But he still has his one friend there, and he's the one from the second movie. They also Domino wasn't in this movie. That was just a little disappointing because Domino was supposed to be like his sidekick. They introduced her in the last one. Anyways, he goes back. He's having and his friends and family kind of group. It's not a family. He has this group of people, and this is a core part of the movie to understand. They want to help him, not help him. They have a birthday party for him, and this is where we see that him and his girlfriend are not getting along together, and he's just having a tough time with dealing with this. He's kind of lost himself. That's what the movie's first part is. He's lost himself, and he doesn't know how to get back on track. He's trying to like live a normal life, and he can't. For that point here, though, is it the TVA? I think they're called. They show up and capture him and take him to this one guy named Paradox. Like, I didn't get why they called this guy Paradox. They should have had a better name for him because he's just one of the other people that helps. He's like a district manager type thing of the group who runs over different parts of surveying the timeline stuff. And this guy tries to recruit Deadpool, but there's a miscommunication here that causes the plot first starts. What Paradox is trying to do is he wants to recruit Deadpool to work for the TVA because he sees his potential to help them with problems. But what he later clears up is saying that, oh no, your timeline is dying because of the death of Wolverine, and I wanted to just save you because I thought you could help us. He was watching them, and he saw how Paradox was saying, we've been watching you. We see you want something. You need to find a goal in life to live up to help yourself to not feel aimless. I thought that by coming to us, you'd feel better because he's trying to appeal to him more as a mercenary. Paradox is, but when this happens, we see this is the best part of of Deadpool's character development is that he has become a person who cares for those around him. They're not just there to chat with or sleep with or anything like that. It's just like he really cares for those group of people that you see at the party. All the other mutants. We even had Colossus there. So he gets pissed at this, and he first tries to fix things. He's saying, "Okay, I'll fix the problem by finding a Wolverine. What if I find another Wolverine? Because somehow Wolverine, there's a person. This is the weird MacGuffin type thing almost, where I like that part actually because there's not really a MacGuffin per se. Wolverine is the MacGuffin. It's not really a chosen one thing, but it's like an adjacent plot point where because Wolverine died in the movie Logan, they need a new Wolverine. Otherwise, this universe will just fall apart. And we don't know how long. They suggest it could take thousands of years or less, but Deadpool's like, no, I'm not going to let my friends and family die. I'll fix this. So he brings a different Wolverine, and that's where he introduced the one who Hugh Jackman plays. Actually, there's a lot of cameos where he has different versions. Actually, this is the one thing too. I gotta go into this a minute. I forgot about this rumor until this movie. So Henry Cavill does make a cameo as a different version of Wolverine, and that was fucking hilarious. It totally threw me off. I forgot. He shows up. He's got they hold it off too. It's one of the first Deadpools he visits, and he's Then you see his back, and he's working on something in a shop. And then he turns around, and it's him. And they do the fourth wall break where Deadpool's like, "Hey, why don't you come over to our side now? We got screwed over by the DC universe, so come work with us." Oh, I wish they would have done that almost. I somehow wish they could have tied him in a little more. That was him doing a different version of Deadpool. I mean, Wolverine, I think would have worked. But no. So he brings a different Wolverine back, and uh, uh, that's not enough. He's saying, no, no, no. Things are gonna die no matter what. Also, this guy Paradox, he is trying to do this as set an example. He's going around his superiors to try and make an example of how things should be done in this TVA organization, and he thinks he wants to destroy Deadpool's timeline. He's got this special machine. This becomes a central point later of this machine that will just destroy everything. And then this is how it will properly clean up some problems it's causing. So basically, he's trying to say by this timeline that I'm trying to reenact it. It shows a timeline like whittling down. He's saying by it decaying slowly, it causes other problems, and it should be just destroyed quickly, kind of like stopping an infection, I guess. So this is where Deadpool says, "Nope, I'm not going to let you do that," and he goes and runs away. And him and not runs away. He doesn't run away. But at this point, him and that other Wolverine he brought with him, or I should say the Wolverine now for the rest of the film, are thrown into that void. I think it's just called the Void. And this is the space we saw in Loki. I only watched season 1, by the way. And they're thrown into that void space to just get rid of him. And then they're not, the Paradox does not want them to ruin his plans. So the rest of the film starts here, becomes essentially, well, we got to get back to there somehow. And along the way, this is, I'm going to shorten this part of it because I can't remember all of it, but they meet a lot of cameos here. The first one is we have Chris Evans come back, but we're tricked into thinking he's Captain America, but actually he's playing a Johnny Storm, because now Fox is owned by Disney. They can do that. They do a lot of that here. They do especially a lot of the X-Men characters, as far as I know. They don't do any other Fantastic Four, I think, other than him. I felt like that could have been a missed opportunity a little bit, but I think I wonder if the other actors like Jessica Alba and what's the other two guys? I can't think. I can picture them. I just can't remember the names who played Reed Richards and the Thing. What's in there? Anyways, none of those other ones. Maybe they weren't available. Maybe they didn't want to come back. And then there's that 2015 one, which is it was just a trash movie though. They meet him, and then they end up getting captured by these people. They end up doing like a Mad Max reference. I'm trying to think. That was Mad Max. Anyways, they get captured, and that's where we meet some of the other characters. Initially, we see Sabretooth, and we see Pyro. I think he's called Pyro. I remember him from the second and third X-Men movie. And then they go here, and we end up meeting the other big bad. So Paradox is one of the big bads, but we also have Cassandra Nova. And so I don't know if I brought this up in the when I know I looked it up after, but when I looked up the watched the other trailers and I wanted to know who she was, I saw. So she is the twin sister to Charles Xavier, and she's a very spiteful, power-hungry kind of woman. Actually, she's kind of like the Joker on steroids, but without any of his strategy. She wants control and power, and she's also like kind of like enjoys being where she is. Anyways, I'll get more into that. She's there, and she's because of her psychic power, she's nearly invincible, and she's running a little gang of people that are built into a skeleton of a giant Ant-Man that somehow maybe she killed, and she's there anyone that gets captured by her, she just makes them work for her and essentially enslavement, to even say so, or she'll kill them. And if they have anything of use on them, then she might keep that. I'll bring that up in a little bit. But the Deadpool and Wolverine manage to escape, and they find out that there are other people that have successfully escaped before, and they go to look for those people, and they end up. This is where the other cameos come in. They end up finding other. We end up getting cameos of, and they brought back successfully some of the actors and actresses of Elektra, Blade, X-23, and they get Channing Tatum in there to play Gambit, because at some point there were rumors years ago that maybe he would play Gambit. I think it was some of those projects that never got made. So they get all these people together, and Wolverine and Deadpool want to get them to all work together and find a way to escape here and fix things. And the other characters, they kind of know that they may not never make it out, but there's a long scene here where Deadpool was able to convince them, like, well, you guys are noble heroes. At the very least, let's try. Maybe you should just go out with a bang and help Wolverine, because that's the thing too. I should stop there. The whole thing here is Deadpool before this part has Wolverine saying, "Hey," tells Wolverine, "Hey, I need your help. I think we got to stop that Paradox guy." And hopefully, he lies to Wolverine too, saying, "Hey, we can fix things here if you go with me." He does the thing like how Francis, or whatever his bad guy name was in the first one, lied to was saying like, he thought Deadpool thought that Francis would take him to someone that could fix his skin. So even though like Deadpool can heal himself, his skin got deformed before that fully functioning. His healing came fully functioning, so he doesn't look as he did before the big fire and everything. And he pulls the same thing on Wolverine. Hey, come help me. I need you back, and I need you to live in my timeline, basically, because you'll become that anchor, this MacGuffin type thing to fix the my timeline. And he has like a picture with him, like, I have friends and family I care about. Don't you care about that? So that didn't work on Wolverine. Wolverine just came along with him up until when they meet the other rebels of Cassandra, the Blade and everyone. Wolverine's just along for the ride, hoping that he can believe in it and wanting to save his timeline, reverse the sins he did and other things that happened, which I should get into now. In his timeline, he came from all the other X-Men were killed by people who were fed up with humans, and he felt responsible because he wasn't there to help them. But he also went on like a killing spree afterward. He pulls the Hawkeye thing, basically. And actually, this is more believable to me than what happened with Hawkeye. This fits Wolverine stuff with him going on a killing spree. I would not... The way they did that with Hawkeye in the Endgame did not sit well with me, but at least that version of Hawkeye, maybe he would be like that. I haven't read any comics with him, but I've seen a lot of other Wolverine media, mostly cartoons, and this just feels like something Wolverine would end up doing when he loses people he cares about. He just doesn't know how to, accept that. He didn't know how to join with them, and he just kept wandering off wandering into the. I can't think of that phrase. Anyways, back to the rebels. We got Blade and Elektra and everyone, and they decide, yeah, we're gonna help you. We're maybe we can help ourselves, but maybe at the same time we can't. But we don't want to just hide here anymore. Why did I do that? So they go to help him there. Actually, in there's a scene here where they have X-23, and I think they got the same actress from Logan. She's there, and she convinces Wolverine to join up. And so the plan is is to keep all of Cassandra Nova's men at bay while Wolverine and Deadpool get to her. Actually, that was kind of weird how that plan worked, because the main plan is they want to stop her powers. And this is the weirdest part that didn't work for me, that I didn't understand. What they need is, so Juggernaut, a Juggernaut variant is part of her crew, and they want his helmet. It's because Juggernaut's helmet is similar to like the one that Magneto has, which can stop her powers. Now, I misunderstood this at first. I thought that Deadpool and Wolverine planned on putting it on themselves so they could stop her from hurting her using her only power she has against them, and that way they could kill her. Especially getting, although I realize the fallacies of that too, because she can her psychic powers are twofold. She can both do things. She can manipulate you with like telekinesis, but she also can get in your head. So really, the helmet only blocks half the abilities of her getting in your head, but she still could like just flick you away, kind of thing. So I was still thinking, oh, they could distract her long enough to, like, one of them would distract her while one wore the helmet and would just slice her head off. And but apparently by putting the helmet, what they do is they end up getting the helmet, putting it on her, and that makes her unable to also use her powers, project them, use them in any way around her. And this is the part where they're able to convince her to like help them. Also because then Pyro, we found out Pyro's working with Paradox, and they're trying to Pyro wants to get paid something to make sure that Paradox make sure that what Deadpool and Wolverine are killed and don't come back, and maybe even kill her. I think she's causing problems somehow. They're still worried about her being a threat, I believe. There was something to that I might be missing. But they end up convincing her to help, in which I thought, like, it seemed too easy, and it ends up being so. How she ends up helping them is she killed one of the what do you call them again? Kind of I don't know. So Doctor Strange, the thing that Doctor Strange and the others use, that special ring thing. One of those people ended up in there, and she killed that person. It may have been Strange, or it may not. They don't really specify specifically. And she has that thing though, and she makes a portal for them to be able to finally go back to their timeline. And this is where the final act starts kicking in. And so she decides to come back. Why did she decide to come back? She decided to come back, and she and Paradox, I think, because she's pissed off that Pyro tried to kill her. And she ends up finding out about the machine that Paradox has that's going to destroy Deadpool's timeline, and she plans on trying to absorb its power. And this is where she's going to the next level, almost Joker craziness, where she wants to absorb that power, and by doing that, she can gain the abilities that augment herself with her psychic abilities to destroy timelines as she pleases. And so the main thing at the end ends up having to be to stop her. But the thing is, too, I was trying to figure out how would they do that, because they can't fight her directly. They don't have another psychic character. I thought they were going to another timeline and bring a psychic character to stop her. But they have it a way where the way is they have to go down to what's powering the machine and destroying some of the energy stuff, so that the interaction would make the machine kind of just blow up. I don't know, somehow just shut it down. It does kind of blow up anyway. You know, Hollywood loves a good something blowing up. And this ends up being a good final fight scene, though, where Wolverine and Deadpool have to team up, where Cassandra knows that they're there and is worried about them stopping her, because she needs like a time to absorb these new powers through that machine. And she brings in all these other Deadpool variants and somehow has them working on her side. And we have a really cool scene where she just fights all of them. Deadpool and Wolverine are fighting all of them. And I just thought that was so funny, that only because if these are all Deadpools who are more or less equal, how would you be able to stop that many of them if their like powers are equal? Not their regenerative powers, they go over that, but their speed and their abilities. So basically, it's like Deadpool and this Wolverine are just strong enough and fast enough where these other Deadpools are basically fodder as far as their capabilities, other than their regenerative ones. Because once they take them all out and reach this point where they have to want to get down and find where the time, because Paradox is has a little setup area where he's getting ready to set off the machine. They want to get to that spot. All the Deadpools start regenerating, and like, oh shit, well, we spent like 5 minutes taking them out, get them out of our way, but they're just gonna pursue us again. So that was just a little like, okay, how did you guys even stop them in the first place? It's like they're inferior Deadpools, I suppose, is what they're going for. But it made for a good action scene too. Anyways, the final part of this is fun. Is funny is it became predictable as the Deadpool and Wolverine both that they get the paradox and they make him tell them how to do that thing with the machine where it'll turn it off, but it will kill whoever's down there because they're doing something with matter and antimatter, and I should go this way, and it you have to like destroy both these tunnels of wires and things with the antimatter and matter coming through. And Wolverine says, "I have nothing left. I'm gonna go in there. Let me have it." And Deadpool, it's it's just weird in a way because Deadpool's probably should just let him do it technically, but Deadpool's like, "No, I'm gonna do it. You should live, and because you're the hero. Really, I think it's kind of going for like you're the hero the world really needs, not me. I understand. Just a merc who no one really cares about." But you're a true hero that always does the right thing, so the world deserves you more than me. The basic thing here, Wolverine would stay in Deadpool's universe. So Deadpool ends up going in there, but then Wolverine able to get in there at the last second. I'm sorry I'm going so fast. It's like there's a great point where they both have to do it. That the space between these two things is not enough for one person. One breaks the one matter, and one brings the antimatter. They're holding hands. And it kind of somehow, because I have to make a connection. I guess there's not enough. The antimatter isn't going to mix in the room somehow. They want to make a connection between the two to like short it out, and it ends up working and stopping Cassandra. She's up there with the machine absorbing this stuff. So we didn't really get a good fight with her. They didn't have anything for that. She's just there for 20 minutes or so absorbing this power, and they get down there after all the fighting they did and end up destroying it. And they trick us into thinking that two of them are dead because it's like, okay, it's antimatter and matter. Paradox says like, no, this stuff can destroy anything, implying like, nothing, even the healing powers you guys have can save us, save yourselves. Excuse me, kind of like saying like it's so it's basically like I was thinking about that with like in terms of like characters like Majin Buu and Dragon Ball Z, and I was thinking, yeah, something like them. Like him could probably survive that even. Maybe if some pieces of him stay. I don't know about Cells. Majin Buu's powers are always better. But they have a little, it's kind of bullshit, but I don't give a shit because it's so good at this point. Because the both of them were together and doing it, their healing powers somehow, they just became indestructible. It's just plot armor, basically. It was hilarious and it worked. So Cassandra Nova just gets destroyed. And the Paradox guy ends up, his superiors, they saw that the machine was about to go out. They could detect it. Like, I don't know how I'm surprised they couldn't get there sooner and stop him. They just made that convenient. Like, they come right after everything's over. But he ends up getting arrested for his crimes of using that machine without permission. It also kind of hinted at that those machines were not supposed to be used anymore. The thing that was going to destroy Deadpool's timeline, he was trying to go for like a paradox for like a humane destruction of it instead of like eroding away. I think they were kind of hinting at what happened in one of the few movies I actually watched in the last phase is the Doctor Strange 2, and he goes to another version of his universe where it's all destroyed, and he meets a very discouraged and downtrodden like a version of himself where that timeline was eroded. So anyways, yeah, Paradox was not supposed to even use those machines probably at all, and especially not unsanctioned without permission. And so he ends up getting arrested, and the day is saved. And basically, so the thing with Wolverines, how they clear up is, yeah, the time TVA, they can't go back in the past like that. That's weird. I don't understand. Do they actually have the power to, and they just know that you can't fix things, or they just literally can't go in the past? This is funny because we got time machines like Cable used to go back and try to stop the universe, the future happening that he lives in, where everything is gone to shit because it's something to do like global warming and stuff like that. Well, us misusing the planet type thing. But the TVA maybe just has rules against going back. I don't understand the rules. I don't care too much, but Wolverine just like accepts that at this point and realizes he has to try and find a new way of to live on. And it's just Wolverine. I think at the ending, Deadpool's kind of say, "Well, let's just stay with me. We just you need a friend to try to." I think what they're going for here is kind of like what happened in Doctor Who, where if he wanders off by himself, when the Doctor's traveling by himself, you can't be alone because you're just gonna probably go. With Wolverine's case, he's just gonna be sitting in a bar drinking alcohol the rest of his life. Well, he seems to live virtually forever. They even mention it like he's 200 years old, so we don't know how much longer he can live. But you need a so Deadpool's like, well, I know we don't always get along, but hang out with me. We'll find you a purpose together. And that's the ending kind of comes up to there, and they go back to a point where there's a party again with where all his friends come together, and Wolverine. My favorite part is Logan. It's like they had a conversation about Deadpool's breakup, and Wolverine's like, "Go, you got to go reconcile things. Get back with her. This is you guys want to be together. Go." And there's a party. There's this dog that's there the whole movie. I didn't bring it up until it comes halfway in, and he's like, "Give me the dog. Talk to the girl." I love it. So, anyways, yes, this is my gushing part. I did all that because I thought I'd think of other things for a review. The movie's good one-off. It doesn't mess with probably whatever was happening in Loki, or the other multiverse stuff. The funny thing I'm thinking about that is like what he went to the main MCU universe, and they're gonna probably like, hey, there's a guy named Deadpool who was here a while back to interview for Avengers. Can anyone find like there's no one named that in this universe here? Like, wait a minute, what the fuck did he came from another universe? I don't know how they're gonna tie that type of stuff in. Maybe they won't even bother. Like I said, it was really good as a self-contained movie, and I really liked it that way. This multiverse stuff. I liked when the movies were all in the MCU from Phase 1 on were going together where they were going to fight Thanos, but now they're doing that too much, and I feel like they need just to go back to these self-contained stories. I was gonna say about that. That's why I never like reading some of the comics. When they have these comics like the Planet Hulk storyline where there was that one I read, where it's like all these other, you got Shield and you got all these other superheroes coming together. It feels too much melting pot, and it kind of ruins the interesting parts to see these characters do their own thing. But at the same time, I've always watched some of those Spider-Man stories, and I thought, why isn't anyone? He's in New York City. Everyone else is supposed to be there. Why doesn't anyone ever come to help him more? So it's like an area there where like it'd be nice to see other characters come help, and at the same time, you don't want everyone there because it solves everything too easily sometimes. I don't know how they're going to do that with this now. I think they really just should reboot it. Like I heard now that somehow going to use Robert Downey Jr. to be Doctor Doom, and like what the fuck is that? Anyways, that's not a tangent for here. Like I don't get it. This movie's great. You guys should definitely go watch it. Like I said, this was a spoiler section. I'm going to timestamp it separately. I hope that more movies like this will be made where they self-contain stories somehow, but be careful with the multiverse stuff. Even the movie itself there's a whole bunch of fourth wall breaking, and they kind of address that stuff, and I'm glad they did. I hope that some other people, and the Kevin Feige or whoever's working there is going to like take notes. Like they probably won't, but we have to do stuff like this. We have to follow a template of making things that are happening here, there, everywhere, not all together all the time. Otherwise, this Avengers stuff, the Avengers, especially these new Avengers movies, are probably they had to replace Kang and that stuff. Anyway, sorry. Great movie, watch it. Not for kids. A lot of vulgar stuff, a lot of action. You like a lot of action. There's a lot of great fights. Wolverine and Deadpool have like two good fights. The second one's even better. Like they really upped the ante with a lot of stuff. I feel like too the budget must have been they didn't have a lot of sets. I feel like they did that purposely because they have so many cameos in there. It's like woo, that must have been where half the budget went into, or more. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now. If you have time to go see this movie and you want to wait till later, Go check it out. It's awesome. Thanks for watching.